This is Jeremiah with a little tutorial on how to start off with a project in Audition. So before I begin any Adobe Creative Cloud project, I like to create a new folder just for that project. So I'm going to create a project here and I'll call it something like, get out here, boom, boom. There we go. Whoops, sorry, I got a new mouse. Okay, so I'll call it, audio assignment 1. And then I go inside that folder and I create even another folder, new folder, and I call this my media. This is where I'm going to store my audio, my waves, my voice memo files, and inside, let's see, so I'll go in there, and you know what, I'll get even more. I'll make another new folder. Put this one in there. Make another new folder in here, and I'll call this one, there we go. Call this one like interviews. Then I'll call this one folder. Call this one Nat Sound. Whoops. Nat Sound. Then I'll get another one, and I'll call this one Tracks. Okay, so these will probably be the 3 types of audio files that I'll have for assignment 1: interviews, natural sound, and tracks. Those will all be in my media folder. And then I'll make another folder here for, let's see, I'll call it project file. Okay, so the reason I'm doing this is because Adobe Audition, as well as other Adobe Creative Cloud applications, they reference the media when you're working on a project. So in other words, when you're saving an Audition file, it's not saving your media with it. What it's doing is it's referencing in another folder. So what that means is if you work on your project, you import all your media, you work on it, you edit it, and then you close your project, and then you say you move all the files around on your desktop, you clean up your desktop, or you just move your files around, you rename your files or anything like that, Audition won't be able to find the file when you open up the project again. So I just try to be as organized as possible before I begin. So now I have my media folders, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to go into iTunes because see here, make sure I don't have any embarrassing music on here, just audiobooks for my daughter. Let's see here. So what I did with the voice memos is I synced them with my iTunes. So you'll see here it says album voice memo, so that's what I'm looking for. And then in the iPhone I was able to label all the voice memo recordings. So what I do now is I go to my folder, my media folder, and let's see, I got this, I'll use this as Nat Sound. This will be like my Nat Sound file. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to drag it. Does it allow me to do this? I'm going to drag it over here into Nat Sound, and then Mason Farm After Rain. I'll call this another natural sound one. And then let's see, I'll just put Storm Afterwards one, again in interviews. There's people talking in that one. And then just for tracks, I'll just put this file in tracks. It's my son laughing. It's not really a track, but it's just to show you how I did it. So if you look at these files, these are M4A files. That's the audio file that the voice memo saves as. It's just important to note because Audition is going to change that into a WAV file. And also I want just to point out, so you see how the voice memos here in iTunes, they all have the names that I gave them in my iPhone, but when I drag the file over into these folders, it has this kind of file name that the system created using like the date and the time. So I just want to note that. So when you look for these files in Audition, you're not going to be looking for the names you give them in the voice memo app. You'll be looking for them in your folders. So this is just a setup before we get into Audition, and from there I'll do another tutorial. All right.